Well, this is welcome news. It's not the news we want to deliver, but it's welcomed in the sense that it is long overdue. Good morning, 6:05 on a Thursday. It's great to have you here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. The man who was accused of fatally shooting two staff members of the Israeli embassy in Washington outside of a Jewish museum, including Johnson County's own Sarah Milgram, has been indicted on federal hate crime charges. These documents were unsealed yesterday. The indictment filed in federal court in Washington charges Elias Rodriguez with 9 counts, including a hate crime resulting in death. The indictment also includes notice of special findings, which would allow the Justice Department to potentially pursue the death penalty. So this was the man, Elias Rodriguez, who's accused of gunning down Yaron Lashinsky and his soon-to-be fiancée, Sarah Milgram, from right here in the Kansas City area, after they did nothing but leave an event at a museum in Washington, D.C. back in May. This man was heard shouting "Free Palestine" as he was led away after his arrest. He told the police, "I did it for Palestine. I did it for Gaza." This story just completely went away. I mean, yes, I'm reading this from NBCnews.com. Yes, I am reading it from a national media outlet. But the news cycle is not on fire right now. It's not like this seems like something that was a huge deal when it happened back in May. And yes, there's a local tie for us here in Kansas City. But I had to dig and just kind of scroll around to try to find the story from the national media. And, maybe I'm totally missing it, but I rescanned all 4 local TV station websites today. I, of course, looked at the Kansas City Star, and I've got nothing here that would suggest this is a major priority story for any of your local Kansas City media. And we know why. It's not a convenient narrative for them. They'd rather simp for Hamas and find some people that they can, on some college campus at KU or Mizzou or wherever, that they can tell sob stories about, than they do want to talk about a girl who was gunned down, who's from our backyard, for no reason other than the fact that she was a Jewish woman in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's it. And that narrative is sadly not a convenient one for too many people, especially those that happen to be in media. So what do? They'll just bury it. They'll cover it. But you know what? It's not just covering it. It's where you place it. It's how much emphasis you put on it. I have not seen Kansas City media touch this story in any kind of meaningful way since Sarah Milgram was buried. I just haven't. And if you're seeing something that I'm not, I don't want to be right on this one. I'm happy to be wrong. And you can text, you can call, you can DM me on social media, Facebook, X, whatever it might be. And you can say, well, actually, so-and-so did such and such. And I would be like, great. I would share it right now on the air. But I haven't seen any of that. And, when this is the kind of news that's coming down yesterday, and I'm reading this from NBC, Associated Press had it at about 5 in the afternoon. And I'm like, okay, local news, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Oh, yeah, can't be bothered. And I'm telling you, right now, there's not a lot going on. Within reason. But it's not like there's some big, massive local story that all hands are on deck covering right now in Kansas City. It doesn't exist. You're telling me there's no time for this? For the guy who shot one of our own for no reason other than the fact that she was Jewish, could be now facing the death penalty? That's a pretty big update. And it all came down yesterday after the documents were unsealed. So go figure, we're going to stay on it here on KCMO Talk Radio, even if others won't. Now, speaking of national news, you heard this at the top of the hour. The president was in very good spirits yesterday when he announced a big investment from Apple alongside their CEO, Tim Cook.
Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years. That's $100 billion more than they were originally going to invest. And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America and anywhere else And it's just an honor to have you. As you know, Apple's been an investor in other countries a little bit. I won't say which ones, but a couple. And they're coming home. $600 billion. It's the biggest there is. The company is also unveiling its ambitious new American manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country all roaring to life.
So this is obviously great optics for the President of the United States, who is using his tariff policy to ultimately try to get, I think, just free and fair trade and also bring back as much manufacturing as is realistically possible to the United States. And then for Tim Cook, it's a win because he gets out of, and Apple gets out of Trump's crosshairs. And then it's also a win for the American people. So as part of the investment, Apple is making a $2.5 billion commitment to produce all of the cover glass for its iPhones and Apple Watches at a manufacturing facility in Kentucky. So, okay, that's pretty good. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we should be encouraging companies to do. Now, what you'll hear, and I heard this on another radio station this morning as I'm bouncing around, experts say the iPhone could triple in price. Tim Cook cannot afford to have the iPhone triple in price. Frankly, Apple, some people are off the Apple train because they're like, all right, what's the shiny new object that Apple has created in the last 10 years? And you really can't find it. I mean, they are so married to this iPhone and also the Apple Watch to a lesser degree. They cannot afford, literally, they cannot afford to triple the price on the iPhone. Tim Cook is not going to invest all this money back in the United States into manufacturing facilities in Kentucky and then triple the price on the phone. It would destroy the company. Can't afford it. That's not going to happen. Okay, it's not. Now, we know that, yes, this administration has been pressuring the tech giant to manufacture the iPhone in the U.S. We know that, right? And Apple's doing what it can to try to invest where they can in the United States. That's the goal here. And it's a big dog and pony show yesterday at the White House. We get it, but it's also good for everybody involved, even if it's not the entire phone. All right, first off, the stock was up on the news. They're doing $100 billion in this new American manufacturing program. The company says it will incentivize global companies to build critical components right here in the United States. And they're partnering with all these different American companies. Applied Materials, Texas Instruments, Global Foundries, Broadcom. I mean, they're doing all of that right now. So the doomsdayers continue to lose. I'm not saying these tariffs are perfect. I don't love them. I don't love the willy-nilly wake up one day and the tariffs are changing. That's a hard way to do business. And I'd like it to come to an end sooner rather than later. But that being said, as much as I'm willing to admit that's not the best situation for any business right now, there also are some good wins coming. And I'm fairly confident in saying these wins would not be happening from Apple investing more here in the United States if this guy was not in the White House. Coming up next on KCMO Talk Radio, one of the administration's top officials is driving me freaking nuts. Not in a good way. I'll tell you who and why coming up next. No, Sean Duffy. He's the transportation secretary. I don't care about the moon right now. I just want to fly to Dallas like on time in an hour and move on with my day. That's what I want to do, Sean Duffy. That's what I want you to care about right now as the transportation secretary. That's it. Good morning at 6:20. Glad you're here on KCMO. So the headline came down a couple of days ago. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy to announce nuclear reactor on the moon. It says here, Sean Duffy will announce the expedited plans this week to build a nuclear reactor on the moon, the first major action by Duffy as the interim NASA administrator. NASA has discussed building a reactor on the lunar surface, but this would set a more definitive timeline. and come just as the agency faces a massive budget cut. Okay, now I know that Sean Duffy's the transportation secretary, and he also happens to be the interim NASA administrator. They're running a lean government there. I'll give them that much. Everyone's got like 7 headlines, kind of like in radio, you know? Everyone's got 7 different titles. But in all seriousness, I don't care about the moon. We are still 7 months removed from a plane from Wichita exploding in midair after it collided with a Black Hawk helicopter outside of Reagan National. We have flights that are getting better when it comes to fewer delays, but still, you talk to anybody who does air travel in this country, it is a mess. We have interstates that need improvements. We have airlines that are a mess. I mean, look at United. You see what's going on with United right now. It was mentioned at the top of the hour news. If not, a technical glitch has led to dozens of delayed flights for United Airlines across the country. And it's getting a little bit better this morning, but what you had is that according to United, flights were grounded because of an issue with a system that tracks flight times and the weight and balance of those flights. The issue was fixed, but it created a lot of delays yesterday in Denver, Chicago, Newark, Houston, and San Francisco. It's happening right now all over the country, and United is just starting to dig out of it this morning, John.
Yeah, and I will go back to ground travel. We'll go clear back to Buttigieg and East Palestine. And the train incident is, those happen all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Remember, that was kind of the explanation?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there doesn't seem to be much action going on here. No urgency. Well, that's because these happen every week.
It's like, no, guys.
No.
Do the stuff that you're being hired to do and do it well. And then if you want to worry about the moon, fine. Worry about nuclear reactors on the moon.
No kidding.
I mean, right now, I need you to figure out how to get me from Kansas City to Chicago in an hour. That's it. My goodness.
Hey, what's this surcharge on my Evergy bill?
Yeah.
To the moon.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that Woody on Toy Story?
Yeah.
Not Woody yet. Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz. Right? Old Buzz Lightyear.
That'll be the logo for all of this.
Oh, no. Don't give him any ideas, John, please. Here is Sean Duffy last night on Laura Ingram's show.
Joe Biden was studying this during his administration as well. And so enough of the studies, hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's move, Laura. So on the moon, I don't think a lot of people realize there's ice. Ice means water. We do have some solar, but if you want sustainable life on the moon, you need an energy source.
No, I don't. I don't care about sustainable life on the moon, dude. I mean, I want an affordable rent in Kansas City. That's what people want. Sustainable. Let Elon Musk do that. Come on, Sean Duffy. You guys weren't elected to get life to get people living on the moon. Okay? No. They want to get on plane rides. They want them to be on time. They want to drive on a safe road. They want to ride on a safe train. No one, no regular person, Sean Duffy, is sitting there thinking about life on the moon right now, dude. Life's rough enough on Earth today, buddy. Come on.
Well, there you go. I was going to say, I don't know about you, but for me, it's still, the moon's too close to the hustle and bustle. I'm going to move on out to the burbs so I can get more land on Mars.
So we're going to bring fission to the moon's surface to power our base. It makes complete sense. Now, some might say, well, the launch is somewhat complicated, right? These are not active. They're not live. When we launch them into space, we can do it safely. By the way, we have submarines and aircraft carriers that operate on nuclear energy as well. But this is a key component. If we're going to get to the moon and then get to the Mars, we're going to have to figure this technology out. And again, we have to beat the Russians, the Chinese, I think, to get to the moon first. If you lead in space, you lead on Earth.
All right. That was Sean Duffy.
So we need to build a Buc-ee's on the moon to get to Mars, I guess. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, at least he mentioned your idea. I know you want to get to Mars, John. You're not really a suburban guy, so you don't want to go to...
A lot more land out there.
Yeah, a lot more. Many more options. Many more options. But, Sean Duffy's got this smirk on his face yesterday doing this hit with Laura Ingraham, like, hey, look at us. We're going to the moon. We're trolling the libs, too. It's like, no, you're not. You're just looking at a touch. That's what you're doing. You're looking and coming across incredibly out of touch. We knocked Mayor Pete for $80 billion in DEI investments with the Department of Transportation being out of touch. This is also being out of touch in just a different way, right? That's all this is. The only thing I want to hear my transportation secretary talk about right now in this country is what he's doing for air travel, what he's doing when it comes to the interstate system, and then trains. That's it. And if you're going to do this, don't go on Fox News and brag about it. Like, you think the audience wants to hear this? And you think, like, taking a shot at Joe Biden, like, the Biden people did this and they didn't do it well. The fact that the Biden people were doing it tells you all you need to know. Maybe you should drop the whole idea. Maybe that's the plan.
Touché.
Come on, man. I mean, this is just, listen. Our side can be out of touch, too. Just because they're people that I voted for doesn't mean that they can't be out of touch. They can be out of touch. And Sean Duffy is coming across on this issue wildly out of touch with where the average American traveler is right now in this country and what they think of travel in this country, which is not getting better. It's only getting worse. You know, this is not the 1960s racing to the moon. Okay, people are just like, no, I'm not really thinking about the moon right now. There's too many other things on my mind I got to get squared away and figured out. And the moon, it's not high on the list, I promise you that. It's really not. Unless you want to figure out how to make the case as to why we should care a lot about the moon, but Sean Duffy has not done that either. Coming up, you're not going to believe what it's going to cost you to do something a lot of people in this town really enjoy doing. We'll tell you what that is next. Get ready for another season of Chiefs football. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg, though, if you want to watch the rest of the NFL. Like, if you're not just a Chiefs fan and you're sitting there and you're saying, hey, I like the NFL, I'll watch the other games too. Well, be prepared to pony up potentially upwards of 2 car payments to watch the NFL this season. That's what you're looking at here. I guess depending on what car you've got, this could be 1 car payment with the way car payments are going these days. All right, so here are the numbers. To access every NFL game this season, you'll need to subscribe to each of the following streaming services. That will run you $671 for the season. ESPN, Amazon Prime, Peacock, Paramount Plus, Fox One, and Netflix. Add this up every month, that's about $112 or $671.64 from the start of the season in September through the Super Bowl in February. Now, this is becoming an untenable situation for a lot of people. Everything continues to go up. Even if it's not going up as much, things continue to go up in price. Right? Especially when you talk about wages just not keeping up with the cost of living. Health insurance continues to be rampantly out of control. Groceries are still way too expensive for families. I mean, it's getting to the point where people are hitting their breaking point. And now if you just want to sit down and watch an NFL game, I mean, sure, if you've just got your rabbit ears, you can sit there and watch CBS and Fox and go on your merry way. NBC, you can just do that if you want to. But if you're someone who's like, no, I like the NFL, I want to watch as much of it in the fall as I can, well, you're going to have to get all the streaming services, John, and you're looking at upwards of $700, man.
I'm old school. I'm doing the rabbit ears, so yeah, I don't care. But I'm like, I can't help but think so many people do fantasy football that you've kind of got them hooked.
Yes. Yeah, and they're betting games like Mark.
You're keeping up in real time. It's one thing to get sporting news at the end of the week and look at the stats. Yeah. That's a whole other thing to keep up because you're counting dollars.
Yep. So this is something that, the NFL is king right now. They can do no wrong. They are America's sport. It's not Major League Baseball anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. The NFL cleans the clock of every other professional sport in the ratings. It's not even close. The Hall of Fame game last week did a better rating than the average NBA playoff game. I'll repeat that. More people watched a preseason NFL game than watched the NBA playoffs on average. People are addicted. This town certainly is addicted to the NFL and its Kansas City Chiefs. But even if you're a Chiefs fan and you're like, hey, we got the Bills coming up next week. Let me watch the Bills today. I got to subscribe to Amazon for that? Oh, boy, I got to get a Peacock, a Fox One, a Netflix subscription for that? Oh, it's going to cost me. That is something that, as much as Americans love the NFL, there's going to be a line here. There's always a line. And the NFL, just like we talk about with redistricting potentially here in Missouri, and we'll have Scott Fawn on the show in the 8 o'clock hour to talk about that, you can get too greedy. It is possible that you get to the point where eventually your fans say, enough's enough. I'm done. I just can't do it anymore. You can't have people saying, I got to pick between my NFL games and my health insurance. Like, that's not a place that you want to be. Now, the good news is here in Kansas City, like, we'll have that Friday night game in Brazil to open up the season against the Chargers. That is going to be on local TV in this market, right? But let's say you're a Chiefs fan and you're not in Kansas City. Let's say you're listening right now on the KCMO Talk Radio app or the iHeart app, and you're streaming us, and you're a transplant, and you're in Phoenix or L.A. or Chicago or New York or Miami or wherever, and you want to watch your hometown team. Well, you're not going to be able to do it. We'll be in luck here for these games for the most part. I mean, not if it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime, but some of these games that people will only be able to get on Peacock and things like that, we'll get the local game here. But if you have friends or family who don't live here, they're going to have to pony up. So simply put, the price of being a diehard is about to be too expensive, especially for younger generations, but they're the ones who probably figure out how to get the illegal streams. Like, I don't understand the illegal stream game, but I know that is very popular right now, and it seems like it's only going to grow. It's only going to become a bigger part of the sports experience, and, that's not good for anybody either. Now, speaking of things that aren't good for anybody, we have another man. A second man has been arrested for throwing a green toy at a WNBA game. I'm trying to make sure I'm using the correct language. Some people don't want me to say dildo on the air. Some people don't want me to use that word on the air. I understand it. So a second man has been arrested for throwing a green toy at a WNBA game. Caden Lopez, 18, was arrested yesterday after police said he was caught on video throwing the object towards the court at a Phoenix Mercury game against the Connecticut Sun. The object did not reach the court. Instead, it hit a fan who was at the game with his 9-year-old niece. Lopez was booked into jail on suspicion of disorderly conduct, assault, and public display of explicit sexual material. So Lopez apologized for his actions, described them as a stupid prank that was trending on social media. Documents reportedly show that he bought the toy on Monday to take it to the game, and then he threw the toy, and now he's been arrested as of yesterday. So the man who was struck by the toy reportedly wants Lopez prosecuted, as do the WNBA and the operators of the Mercury's Phoenix Arena. They write here in a statement, the adult male victim was interviewed. He stated he was watching the game with his niece when something hit the back of his head and fell to the ground next to them. He realized the object that hit him, and he has desired prosecution. Now, that's too much. Like, I understand, you got a kid who's pulling a dopey prank, but if you're the guy that got hit by this thing, I'm not saying you have to be happy about it, but trust me, this kid's going to be going through enough. What do you want an 18-year-old who's doing a dumb prank that, you wish you didn't do it. It hits you in the back. That's not a good thing. It's not something we should be encouraging. But, man, trust me, he was booked. He spent the night in jail. He's going to be going through plenty. He's going to pay a monetary price that's going to be pretty substantial, especially for an 18-year-old. And then now he's got a mugshot out there. You Google the guy's name, it's going to be a tough enough time for him to get a job. But I do think if you're the person that got hit, you got to pick and choose that battle, okay? That's what you got to do in that situation. I know it's embarrassing. I know you don't want to be hit by any of this stuff. But if you are that adult in that spot there. It's like anything else. When you get pranked by a bunch of kids, you do have to have a little bit of common sense depending on what they do. And I think this is that exact example. Now, Mark is not here this morning. I cannot confirm or deny if he is on his way to the Chicago Sky game tonight to try to make a lot of money by tossing something on the floor that may make him a fortune on his betting apps. But we'll try to check in with him later this morning on KCMO Talk Radio and see if he is available to join us. I'll tell you, too, I got to catch you up on the burglary story that I went through 2 days ago when my credit cards were stolen out of my gym locker. The burglar may have gotten the last laugh. I found out something yesterday after I got off the air that I did not previously realize. I'll share that with you at 7 o'clock this morning here on KCMO. And 1 hour from now, we have your chance to win tickets to see Alabama and Pat Green down at Thunder Ridge Nature Arena in the Ozarks on Thursday, August 21st. In the meantime, our 6 at 6, top 6 stories in the 6 o'clock hour coming up next on KCMO. Remember this guy, Oliver Anthony? He went viral about a year ago for this song, Rich Men North of Richmond. He is going to be playing at the Missouri State Fair coming up on August 9th in a couple of nights. I was looking at the lineup last night. I knew it was starting today. And I said, let me see who the musicians are they're going to have each night and who's going to be playing. And there were only 2 names that I recognized. Doesn't mean that you won't recognize the other names, John. You may know some of the other people
I have
here.
the list here. I was curious.
Okay.
I recognize some, but I don't know that I've even heard their music.
So Oliver Anthony was the first one. I was like, I remember that guy. I was like, what was that song again? Oh, yeah, Rich Men North of Richmond. And then I'm scrolling down. I'm kind of seeing some of these bands. I'm like, I don't know the Huckleberries. I don't know Twisted Fate. I don't know Cedar Creek Band. And then I see Flo Rida. Flo Rida is coming to the Missouri State Fair on August 15th, a week from tomorrow night on Friday. And I'm looking at this lineup. I'm like, which of these do not belong, okay, in this lineup? And it was Flo Rida that somehow made his way to the Missouri State Fair musical lineup coming up next Friday night. But, John, if there are others on the list that you're familiar with, please lay them out for me.
I may have a different list. I didn't see some of the lesser bands you mentioned, although I got the Flo Rida, so these must be the headliners on various nights. Got Blues Travelers and Gin Blossoms with Spin Doctors on the 8th, right before Oliver.
Oh, okay, yes, okay,
so,
yes.
But that's a vintage 1994 tour. I saw Gin Blossoms and Spin Doctors with Cracker at Verizon Wireless Amphitheater in 1994. So.
I skipped right over those guys. And yes, Gin Blossom's good. Spin Doctors.
Winona is going to be there to open up on this tonight, I guess.
Who's going to be there tonight?
Winona Judd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Her greatest hits tour.
There she is.
She hasn't been out for a while as far as I know, so.
And then next Saturday.
So those are certainly vintage anyway, yeah.
John Party. There's another
John
name.
Party.
The kind of a modern country singer.
I don't know Hudson Westbrook or Josiah Queen.
Yeah, I don't know them.
John Party I've heard of. But,
yep.
You know.
John Party's
kind of a B-list country guy.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard some of
Got
his
some
stuff.
hits there in the
So
number 20 through top 10 through 20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Flo Rida's next Friday, followed up by John Party on Saturday. What a 1-2 punch that is right there.
I mean, Nelly's is from St. Louis. Yeah, maybe he could do a little something for us.
I think he's done it before, too.
Maybe he has.
I feel like he was on there one of the last couple of years at some point. But it'll be good. We'll talk to Scott Fawn about that coming up next hour. He is live at the Missouri State Fair. Also, get the redistricting latest in Missouri from him as well.
I love the tractor pulls, though.
Oh, this is
going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. You're right about that. I haven't been in a few years, so we'll see. If the weather gets a little bit better, maybe I'll take the girls next weekend. Not going to Flo Rida, though. I promise you that. The mayor of Kansas City, Quinton Lucas, joins us for the first time in a couple of weeks next. Big-time investments announced yesterday, and there's no evidence right now it's going to triple the cost of your iPhone, which is what I heard early this morning, on another radio station here in Kansas City. Of course, they've got to poo-poo the fact that Apple announced a new $100 billion commitment to America. And the media's got to find a reason to not like that. There has to be something about that is bad. Oh, your iPhone may triple in cost, claim the experts. Yes, you're right. CEO Tim Cook definitely did this with the plan to triple the cost of the iPhone. The guy who runs the business doesn't know better than the so-called experts who get quoted in the Associated Press, at CNN, and different other media outlets. Definitely they know better. The guy or gal who is some policy wonk knows better than Tim Cook what's going on with the Apple business. Please. Here was the president yesterday announcing this.
Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years. That's $100 billion more than they were originally going to invest. And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America and anywhere else. And it's just an honor to have you. As you know, Apple's been an investor in other countries a little bit. I won't say which ones, but a couple. And they're coming home. $600 billion. It's the biggest there is. The company is also unveiling its ambitious new American manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country all roaring to life.
Yeah, let's find out a reason to hate this. So part of this $600 billion investment from Apple includes 450,000 jobs with suppliers and partners in all 50 states. That will include, obviously, Kansas and Missouri. Manufacturing at 79 various factories. So that's a big deal. What's not to like about that? The vast majority of these jobs focused on R&D, that's research and development, silicon engineering, software development, and AI and machine learning. So this is a big deal. And it's not going to triple the cost of your iPhone. And you know why I can say that with such certainty? Because Apple would not have done this if it tripled the cost of the iPhone. I mean, just use common sense. I have an iPhone. I've always been an iPhone guy, not an Android guy. But I'll tell you right now, this phone triples in cost. Guess what I'm getting next time around? I'm getting an Android. It's basic common sense. It's business. It's supply and demand. It's pricing. It's everything else. It just makes sense. If that Android next time around is $1,200 and the iPhone's $3,600, I'll become an Android guy real fast. Okay? You won't have to convince me. Apple knows that. And Apple is still so reliant on the iPhone. In fact, there's a lot of people who have insinuated that Apple's, frankly, falling behind because they really haven't had a major new product development in going on, 20 years. The iPhone came out in 2007. Their business model is so reliant on the world basically having this phone. And it's working out fine for them. But they're not going to magically triple the cost of the phone because they're acquiescing to this president. Tim Cook's not going to do that. He's one of the brightest guys in the business world. So look at the Apple stock, by the way. It is up this morning nearly 3%, 2.5% on this news. Apple's stock over the last 3 months is up about 10%. And over the last month alone, it is also on the uptick, about 3% over the last month or so. So, clearly, investors like this. If investors thought that the experts, air quotes, were right, I'm pretty sure the stock price would not have skyrocketed this morning. It wouldn't have happened. And then leave it to Trump. I mean, Trump gets Apple to come out and announce another $100 billion investment back here in the United States, right? And it's all because of the policy that he's implemented. And I still am leery on the tariff policy in general and how it's going to play out. But I can't deny that these results in this case are obviously very positive. You just can't take it away from them. So Trump gets Cook into the White House. And then at the end of this big press conference, he makes fun of Tim Cook. He just starts ripping on the guy.
Ukraine, getting it settled. Getting it ended should have never started, would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started. I want to thank Tim Cook. He's a great, great man, a visionary, a businessman, just about every quality he can have other than athleticism. I don't know. But I'm looking at him. I'm not 100% sure about you. You're a good athlete. I'll bet you're pretty good. I think he's good at everything, but I want to thank you very much, Tim. Congratulations. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I mean, guy can't catch a break. He invests $100 billion and he still get ripped on by the president. One of the few people on the planet who's more powerful than Tim Cook is Donald Trump. And Cook does the guy a solid. You know, obviously he's not doing it for charitable purposes, but it's good for his business, and it also makes Trump look good. And the other thing that Tim Cook did here for Trump is he was willing to stand alongside him in this press conference setting. A lot of CEOs might say, listen, I'm going to do this investment, but I don't want to be a part of the dog and pony show. I just, that might be too controversial for me or my brand. Tim Cook did that, right? A lot of guys and gals may not want to be a part of that. Tim Cook does it. He shows up there, and he ends the press conference roasting him, basically saying he looks like a nerd who's never thrown a football in his life. Jeez. Thanks, Donnie. I appreciate that.
Such a nice man.
Yeah, that was rough for Tim Cook. $100 billion, and he can't avoid a roasting from the President of the United States. Oh, my goodness. 913-408-7957. That is our text line and our studio line here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Pete, us Android folks are living our best lives. Come on over. We are not snobs.
Present.
I know.
Yep.
Hey, man. Oh, a Garner, too? You're an Android guy? I'm outnumbered on the show. Mark's got the iPhone, so normally I'm in the majority here. Now I'm in the minority. Oh, gosh. Where's Mark? I think Keatsman's got the iPhone. He's got my back. You iPhone guys are snobs. I'm sorry. Or you Android guys are snobs. I slipped up. I slipped up. Ah, dang it. No. Jeez.
Nailed it.
Shame on me. Shame on me. All right. We still have an hour to go here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. We are streaming, as always, on the KCMO Talk Radio app as we take you until Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled coming up at 10 o'clock on 95.7 FM. The Star writing this morning about what could happen to Kansas City as all eyes could be focused on this town after Texas. I'll explain next. Kansas City Star dropping a headline piece here in the last few minutes. All eyes are on Kansas City, not St. Louis, as Trump pushes gerrymander Missouri. That's the lead piece. And the main reason is this. The reason the focus is on Kansas City and not St. Louis is a simple one. The first district in Missouri, the other Democrat district in the state of Missouri, is a majority-minority district. That's it. That's the reason. So St. Louis is protected because if I start to carve up St. Louis, well, then you potentially have a discrimination challenge and lawsuit on your hands that will be tied up in the courts for a long time. Kansas City is not. The 5th district of Emmanuel Cleaver is not. So that's why it is easier for the state of Missouri to go out there and potentially look at basically squeezing an extra seat in Congress out of Kansas City versus St. Louis. So what would this look like exactly? Well, I don't really know yet. However, it has been kind of thrown out there that you could basically take downtown to the Northland and basically make it part of Northwest Missouri, Maryville, Kirksville, St. Joe, down into basically downtown on up. You would take the east side of Kansas City and maybe a little bit south of the river and extend that out to west of Columbia, all the way down to central Missouri, squeeze it back up towards Sedalia and Warrensburg, and then South KC would basically go all the way down to the state line through Joplin, Carthage, down that way, and, as far west as west of Springfield. Kind of like one big rectangle on down. Is it a gerrymander? Yeah, it is. Not denying that for a second. Absolutely is. As Scott Vaughn said last hour, their best argument, though, is look at Illinois, right? It's not the fairest argument. It's probably the only argument, but as he said last hour, and Scott Vaughn's not a fan of this. He made it clear this is probably not a good thing in his estimation for federal funding coming to Kansas City. But in the end, look at Illinois. It's not a bad argument to make. In fact, it's a damn good one. And I'm with Scott. Like, I don't like it. I'm concerned what it would mean for districts if they become more purple. Do you have then tougher general elections? And that's something this morning that Mayor Lucas brought up when he joined us here on KCMO. So do you think that you...
Game on is that, frankly, I don't think, and I know everybody believes that data will tell you how the voter turnout will go. I don't think it's an easy redistrict. I think you build several purple districts, and I think you make political life and realities much harder for Mark Alford and much harder for Sam Graves. Full stop. I mean, look, we all live in the Kansas City metro, or at least drive into it every now and then. To split Cleaver's district, there are 335,000 or so Kansas Cityans south of the river. There are several 100,000 other Jackson Countyans, most of whom, by and large, vote Democratic. 80% of the city itself largely went for the Democratic side in our recent national election. So that is a tough redraw. And I say this having been a candidate, having looked at the maps, having studied them in this area. And so, look, I do so with your own peril.
And then the mayor went on to tell us that if they redraw this 7-1 map in Missouri, well, he may actually pull the trigger and say, why not me? So do you think that you are then, what I'm sensing here, you, Jason Kander, maybe some others, more likely to run for Congress, run for a House if there is a redistricting and there are more options when it comes to purple-ish districts?
Yes. I mean, I think that becomes obvious. You'll have, I just actually see it as a duty of people. If there are new seats that are more Democratic, I will absolutely, I don't know if it's me, but I will absolutely try to recruit people to ensure that we have strong candidates in all of the seats in addition to Emmanuel Cleavers. That is something that is a fundamental goal, and I think Democrats won't miss that opportunity in this part of the region. I'll add to you this fact that, Missouri Democrats in recent years, we haven't had a ton of money to contribute to them. We've had money. We haven't had a ton of races to participate in.
Now, listen, I think the mayor's talking a big game there. I do. I don't think he ultimately will run for Congress, but it's well known and well reported that if the mayor had his perfect next step politically, it would be a statewide race and a statewide win in Missouri. I mean, I know that on really good authority that if he could just do anything next, he would want to be the governor of Missouri. I'm not saying it's happening. Trust me, I'm not in the current political landscape and the way these two parties are currently trending. It's not happening. But he views himself as somebody that would be capable of winning over some Republican voters. So if that's the case, he may say, hey, if suddenly the 4th district against Mark Alford goes from a Republican plus 20 district to a Republican plus 10 district. So you're saying there's a chance. He may look at this thing and say, you know what? I'm going to roll the dice. I might be able to do this. And total sidebar. Do you know how much I would pay to get a Quentin Lucas, Mark Alford general election for Congress? Oh, my goodness. That would be gold. I would host that debate yesterday if I could. Quentin Lucas v. Mark Alford, that would be one of the all-time great debates we've ever seen at a time when really Congress is not all that interesting in its races because there's no swing districts left. Like you win a primary, it's game, set, match. Quentin Lucas, Mark Alford, oh my goodness, sign me up for that, John.
Not since Lincoln Douglas debates.
Oh, man. Let's go to Parkville. That's where Victor is this morning. What's up, brother?
Oh, I heard about this, and I just cringed. This is the kind of thing they tried doing on a state level not too long ago, and they tried to pick up a seat up here in Platte County. They ended up giving us Jamie Johnson in 14, and Ashley Ani still kept 15. Now, eventually, we got Mike Jones, who took 14 back. But 13 is solid with Sean Fouché.
What are you talking about? State House or State Senate?
Yeah,
or...
the State House.
Okay.
They tried doing this with the state. They tried gerrymandering it, so they tried to get the one Democrat seat and push it out and pick it up, but they ended up losing 2 Republican seats. and it was a very bad decision.
So it backfired on him.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Yes, I know what Mayor Q said, that they just haven't had a lot of money to throw around in races that are reasonable. You put 3 districts or 3 regions up in play, money will flood into Kansas City.
Democrat money.
Democrat money, Soros money, socialist money, deep state money, you name it, whoever's got it. You got 3 regions, 3 representative seats in play around the Kansas City area. Money will flood into this area just like it did for tax stuff, just like it did for the pet thing, just like it did for legalized marijuana, just like it did for the abortion bill. You name it, they will flood it because it's going to be an easy pickup for them because too many people don't vote.
And they always have more money. Listen, Victor, I totally agree with you here on this. And, if I'm Trump, I'm pushing Congress to get through this bill to make sure that if you redo the census, you do it without counting illegal immigrants. I think that's number 1. And then 2, you just kick butt on policy to the point where you're not worried about one seat here or there in a state like Missouri that is already 6-2, overrepresented technically. All right? I mean, it's not, trust me, it's not going to come down to one seat in Missouri. It's just not. Mike and Olathe, go ahead.
I think you're right. I think that guy's right. Let's leave well enough alone. But I actually put on X the other day, I think Alford needs to take Holly's spot. Holly's got a little bit of he's got some squishy things going on. He just seems like he's trying to, put himself in a weird, he's contorting his body. We're voting with Democrats and stuff. But I think Alford should run for Senate and get Holly out of there. I think he should replace him.
I don't know. I mean, listen, if Trump's fed up with Holly, and remember, he put up that tweet about Holly last week, called him a 2-tier senator. If Trump's done with Hawley, he could pick whoever. He could pick you or me, Mike, and run in Missouri, and we'd win just because you get that Trump endorsement in a primary. It's over.
Yeah, I just think for some reason Josh just seems a little squishy lately. I don't know what's up with him. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's not squishy. He's just trying to lean hyper into the populist thing and kind of be the Christian faith-based Bernie Sanders-ish Republican, which I don't think that lane exists. Weston Gladstone, go ahead, buddy.
Mundo in Missouri, no thank you. But
yeah, I know. I got to move across the state line. It just came to mind real quick. The point is, Wes, you could be the guy that Trump endorses in a primary, and you're winning with no resources.
Well, I have a very selfish take on the redistricting. As long as Musty Moo Moo is not my congressman, I don't give a damn what they do. And as far as Holly goes, I think Eric Schmidt has sucked up all the conservatism out of the room, and now Holly's like, well, where do I go now? So
are you in Sam Graves' district, or are you in the redistricted Cleaver district?
I was in Sam Graves, and I was like, and I didn't even know until I went to go vote the first time, and I was like, what happened here?
So you're in Cleaver's district now, up north.
Yes.
Wow, how about that?
If anything could keep him from being my congressman, I'm all for it.
You mustard moo moo moo.
All right, Wes. There you go. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, but then we don't get the great drops like that, What do I do without those things? On the text line, Pete, Victor from Parkville and Wes from Gladstone in the same segment. What an all-star cast and segment you just had there. Hey, what can I tell you? And this is free too, right? You don't have to pay anything for this. Get those guys in the mix. 2 out of 3 callers. That's pretty good. And don't forget Mike and Olathe. He's been known to be a good caller as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fireworks are going off here. You just can't see them.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Hey, I'm just reading your text here. That's all. Oh, my goodness gracious. We've got our caller of the day at the bottom of the hour. We, of course, will update you on the burglary took a turn for the worst for me. I was laughing yesterday at the whole thing, and then suddenly I got off the air and something hit me. I'll tell you about that at 9:30 during our caller of the day here on KCMO.